What's going on, everyone? So, Veep is the latest TV show that I finally finished watching. It aired from 2012 to 2019 on HBO, and it lasted 7 seasons. Not gonna lie, I took my time with this TV show. My girlfriend and myself, we decided to watch it slowly but surely. And right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm very glad that I did because this is a interesting show. Like most HBO shows, I know if you're new to my channel, I love HBO. HBO is easily my favorite network. The only downfall with them is that they still don't stream in 4K, unfortunately. But besides that, they give incredible entertainment that is thought-provoking. And Veep is no exception in the slightest. But before I dive into that, for the newcomers that aren't really aware of what the show is about, let me explain. So, it is about a former senator named Selina Meyer, who is now the Veep, the Vice President of the United States, and she isn't really content with it. She's realizing it's not really what she might have wanted in the first place, and so she wants to go a little bit higher up, the President of the United States. So the show is basically streamlined about her trying to get to that position, along with all the people around her, her opponents. It's an intriguing show. I'm going to say right off the bat, I loved the show. I don't think it's perfect, but this is still why I watch TV. You know, again, HBO proves again and again why they are my favorite. I mean, you have an intriguing premise, very unique, I might add. That's very well shot. I mean, it's done in a way where it almost feels like many people will look at it as like The Office and Parks and Recreation, and that's fine. But the difference is that Veep has that great cinematography where it's like it's shaky, but it's like has a lot of zoom ins and it's well established at the same time. But it manages to have a streamlined story where, you know, a lot of times in comedy TV shows where it's like something big will happen at the end of the episode, and the next episode is as if that big thing didn't happen. Well, this show doesn't do that. It builds and builds and builds. And it's consistent, too. Each season is consistent. There's not a single bad season in the show. And I think that that's really awesome, honestly, because so many times you'll watch a show and you'll be like, well, this season was the weak link. But, you know, other than that, the rest of the seasons were pretty consistent. But I can honestly say that Veep, every single season was consistently really good. And it goes to a lot of interesting places. And I think a lot of it has to do with the strong writing. I mean, the writing it's very clever, but it's also hilarious. A lot of times when I'm reviewing comedic stuff, I oftentimes forget to say whether or not it's funny or not. But I made a point to say that with Veep, it's funny because I found myself dying a lot of times. Like the humor is right up my alley. I absolutely love it. Every single cast member gives it their all. They all have incredible comedic timing. And again, I think it's the balance of that witty, unique dialogue matched with the comedic timing of these great actors and actresses. I mean, you have Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Tony Hale, Reed Scott, Matt Walsh, Gary Cole, Kevin Dunn, Sam Richardson, and my favorite, personally, of the entire show, that would be Timothy Simmons as Jonah Ryan. Let me tell you something. Every single character has an interesting arc, for sure, in terms of character development, but what they did with Jonah Ryan's character, I think, is especially like, whoa, I was not expecting that. And it's very much so like a parallel to our current times, which is even crazier, but it's very fitting. And at the same time, trust me, if you sit down and watch the show, you'll know what I'm saying about what they do with Jonah Ryan's character. It's very interesting. So again, it hits all the marks for me. It's a very funny, clever show that goes against the grain in terms of comedy shows. It builds and builds and builds. It has a great last season, which is something that I was very satisfied with. The ending wrapped up everything in a very whelming way. It wasn't overwhelming and it wasn't underwhelming. It was just whelming. It was something that I wasn't expecting, but I liked it a lot. I do also want to give props to the score. The score is something that, again, also in comedy TV shows, I often criticize because a lot of times it's either like a laugh track or it's very simplistic to the point where it's like forgettable other than the fact that it's like, oh, that wasn't good. Veep is different. Veep has a good theme song that is memorable, and it doesn't have a laugh track, and it does have good beats in terms of like the score when need be. A lot of times, I'm not going to lie, there really isn't a score. If it is, it's really low, but I think it's still effective nonetheless. So overall, in terms of Veep, in terms of things that I think are flaws, there are some episodes that I didn't necessarily give her a 9 or a 10. Like I just gave like an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. And because of that, like I averaged it out and I would give the show overall a higher rating, but in terms of like perfection, there's not really like an episode or, you know, certain like flaws I had with the season, you know, in terms of any of the seasons, I should say. But I will say, if you want to nitpick this show, it's going to be kind of hard because, again, it's so tightly written to the point of you're just watching it and you're glued to the screen and you're entertained, and you often just kind of wonder, like, is this how it actually is in terms of politics? And I don't know, maybe if someone that's watching this is into politics, they can explain that. But nonetheless, I'm going to say this, Veep, it's very well written. It's got great performances. It's very well filmed. It's intriguing. It keeps your attention throughout all 7 seasons. And yeah, Veep absolutely gets a high recommendation for me, and I will be giving Veep as a whole a 4.5 out of 5-star rating, which for those like a hot sauce rating gets the good old Tabasco rating. So yeah, as you guys can tell, I really liked the show. Like I said, I don't really know if I have a favorite season. Maybe season 7, but I don't know. It's pretty consistent in terms of seasons. But guys, that's my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinions on the show overall, as well as rank the seasons down below. I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on where each season ranks for you. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I will catch you guys later.